Give your cards to Stacy. We're going to have a drawing for some prizes. All right. March 19th. Everyone have a good St. Patty's Day. Always a fun holiday. No gift-giving pressure. Actually, no family reunion pressure. Just drink some green beer. Pretty good gig. Jake's got a call.
Where's the pig?
What's that? Come on, Jake, 2 in a row.
Look! Now look, there's
Where's the pig?
All right, so let's talk market. What are you thinking? March 18th. We're just on the cusp of everything blasting off. Everything around us, trees, flowers, birds, listings increasing, buyers increasing. What are you feeling out there?
Listings, if it's priced right, it's going to move quick, but it doesn't give a seller permission to price it wherever they want. If it's not priced right, you're going to have problems.
Okay, everyone agree?
Yeah.
Okay, remember every property is its own analysis, right? Depending on school, location, price, condition. All right, what else? What are you feeling out there, Mike?
Well, make sure it is 100% ready. Don't rush. You know, it's okay to miss a weekend because when you put it out there, there will be a lot of activity on just about anything that comes out there.
So you're saying get all the stuff done.
Yeah.
Good condition. What else? Anyone else? What you feeling? Well, from our side, again, I'm looking at a set of 350 agents, but business is strong. We're starting to move into that time of year where, thank you, where we have 15 to 20 contracts a day. So it is that time of year. We also benefit from reload. Most people try to move between school years if they have kids, so all that amps up right now, so just be ready. Probably the, I'm going to say top breakfast. Trish has nailed it. Chick-fil-A in the bun, Chick-fil-A nuggets out of the bun, Chick-fil-A sandwiches. She knows what you guys like. So Trish, RIA, what you got today?
Good morning, guys. Just want to make sure everybody put their card in. If not, I'll talk for a few moments, and then you can find your way up to. We're going to do a Target gift card. I'm let Jake to do. Okay, awesome. So, hi, everybody. It's Tricia with Residential Inspector of America. It's good to see you all. It was good to see some of you at Bowles. I saw Brad at Bowles a few days ago. RIA enjoyed supporting the agents by giving away 2 $400 scholarships based basically on a business card drawing. Unfortunately, I can't report that any KW Perimeter agents won, but we had a First Atlanta, and I think Jim Alexander's East Cobb. So maybe next, in August, we'll probably be there again. So give it a good try. If you join Bold, there's a chance you could get $400 back on your monies. But it's a large crowd, so the percentage is pretty high. Today, just want to talk about, first of all, I don't know, does anybody remember Liberace?
Yeah.
I'm wearing his shirt. Shopped at the Liberace shop. I feel like Liberace whenever I wear this opera sleeve shirt. It's crazy stuff. But for those of you who don't remember, it's okay. So anyway, oh, does he? Oh, okay.
Lawrence will.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. He's got a full closet. Okay, so we've been in business for 30 years. We are family owned. We are not a franchise. And we have completed over 100,000 inspections. Atlanta, the surrounding area keeps us very busy. I think today I checked in, we have about 38 inspections for today. So we're keeping the guys quite busy. We have 21 inspectors. They are all experienced. We do not hire new inspectors at all. If we bring on someone new, they have to have experience. And we support the agents and your clients as best as we can for protection after the inspection as well. Of course, during inspections, it's a fine line. There's a lot of things involved, etc. but we are there for you in the aftermath as well, whether it goes good or bad. We offer $25,000. You guys all have the warranty in front of you, protection. And I've seen these things. The busier we are, the more I see stuff coming through. I worked until about 8:30, 9 o'clock last night. Was back at it at 6 o'clock this morning. Activity creates motion, of course, and that's a good thing. But I'm there for you guys for service, not an inspector. I try to move things when it needs to be moved. I make sure that you get the attention you need if there's a service issue. I will not let that be sacrificed. I'm huge on service. I come from corporate sales. I was in the top 10% ranked for First Data Corporation here, headquartered in Atlanta. I've been in the Northeast, Southeast, and I never sell anything if I don't have service behind it. So I can give you the service. I can't make everything right with the inspectors and with stuff that goes down, but what I can do is be there for you if you need anything at all in the aftermath, and I will not let it slide. So I'm really big on service. I want you guys to know that. But we have the $25,000 protection. I've been seeing things come in on roofs, plumbing, all kinds of things. This is here for you. It's 5 years on the roof. So if there's any situations, we start a claim process on the roof. So it's 5 years after the sale. The other ones are 90 days. They're on the structure mechanical, the mold. Of course, you would need a mold test done. And before I forget, I want to mention Frederick is in the room, and we do work very well with Green Home Solutions as well. So, but you would need the mold test done to have a mold 90-day warranty kick in. Radon, same thing. You need a radon test to have that kick in. We also have 90-day on the main water and sewer line, and 90-day on the sewer guard. So I see a lot of sewer and roof come through. So I don't know what you guys, your needs are. We do not do sewer scope, and hardly any agents do sewer scope. I'm with top producers every day. I ask them, do you use sewer scope? Do you guys know about sewer? No. Even top agents aren't doing sewer scope. So what happens is sewer guard kicks in really nice for that. If you guys have mature trees or something on the property, decides to cause havoc. Nobody really knows what's going on underneath there unless you do have a sewer scope done. Sewer scope is analogous to an endoscopy, like a medical procedure. It goes in, it drills down, it sees what's going on, but nobody's really doing them. So when there's a problem, this kicks in. And so you guys have coverage there. Any questions? Yes.
I just want to comment, you guys are awesome. All of our vendors, you guys got to support them. So I had an inspection on my listing, and it came up with some potential mold issues, which were refutable. Anyway, I was out there with the seller Saturday afternoon at 7 o'clock, and I had some questions. And my first call was to Jeff Gunter, my inspector that I use most frequently at RIA. Called him at 7:30 on a Saturday, not sure if he would answer. He took the call. He walked me through a couple things, super valuable. I had him on speakerphone. My seller was there listening to it, added tremendous value. Went a little bit further, called Frederick. He answered, went through a couple questions, and now they're engaged. But I'm telling you, these guys are our vendors, and they're there for us. Support them and use them because they're phenomenal resources that can make you look like a superstar.
Thank you so much.
I mean, they weren't even hired for this particular job. It was
Right.
all of them
Yeah.
to verify.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Mike.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that so much. And, like, seriously, we are here for you. Not everything goes right, but last night I was on calls till like 8:30 last night and then back at it at 6 o'clock this morning. So we are here for you guys. I think that's very important with that in itself.
What are we giving away?
We're giving away a Target $10 or $15 gift card. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure if it's $10 or $15. but
Let's
it's
make it
Target.
15.
Yeah. Short five. I'll be good on it next time. Thank you. Okay, Sean Denson.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, I'll take that one.
There you go.
inspections? You do the sewer inspections?
We do not. We were doing sewer scope. We weren't happy with the gentleman that had. So you need to go out, get a plumber, and look for. We have like one guy that we might be able to help you with, but if you guys can find a plumber, they do the sewer scope.
Okay.
And they're usually about $250 to $300, something like that. Thank you. Great question. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, let's all turn our attention to the back corner of the room and wave. Can you believe it? Aaron is in the house. Let's wave. How you doing? All right. So, we have some prizes to give away. And like for my childhood, many of you remember The Price is Right, so we're giving away 2 umbrellas. And what's in this box? First person gets to pick which one they want.
No doors?
Just pretend there's a door.
Door one.
Faith Osman, which one do you want?
I'll take the box.
Oh.
The mystery box.
There you go.
Danger seeker.
Oh! She dropped it. We got to redraw.
Jerry.
You got to redraw. She dropped it. All right, umbrella. John Ellis.
There you go, John.
You have one already?
I already have one, so put me
There we go. We'll put you back out for something else. Virginia Moran.
There you go, Virginia.
And Bill Haas.
Billy, there you go.
Flush with umbrella.
He's flush.
Back in.
He's flush. Let's go, Maya Saab.
There you go.
Maya. Right. There we go. Congrats. All right. So, news that I think you would find good for you. Many of you remember most of our careers we used dual entry Swift, where you only had to enter your listings one time that went into both FMLS and MLS. You had to do that from the office. We had the systems here. About a year ago they changed where no longer had that. You could purchase it for your home use, and it was, I don't know what it was, $3, $5 an entry. Now Office has purchased Bridge Interactive, where it's going back to free. Where one entry, and you can do it from home or here, right?
Here.
Yay, thank you.
Okay, so one entry to FMLS and MLS, so Diane's going to give you a short tutorial.
Very short, because I'm not going to get into the actual program. We have a class next Monday at 10 o'clock. We'll have Megan from
Our new friend Megan.
from Bridge Interactive. She's going to be here, and she's going to take us through our cases on every single aspect of it. Basically, you can access it from FMLS, or you can access it from Georgia MLS. A lot of you probably never even noticed it there, because, or else you saw it and you went, I don't know what that is, whatever. You clicked on it and it said, see your broker. Yeah, that was that. But if you go, to FMLS, it's considered a product. So you're going to click on product. You're going to come over here to Bridge Input. And it'll take a second. And for those of you who haven't used it before, you're going to want to go to this section up here called Connections. This is where you let them know that you're using not only FMLS, but also Georgia MLS. Now you've got some instructions on your tables and also on your chairs. If you don't have one, come see me at my desk afterwards. They kind of walk you through connecting Georgia MLS and FMLS together so that when you put them in, you only have to put it in once. It's very, it's so different from Dual Swift. I mean, it's like night and day, because you can put up to 100 pictures in it. You can put them in as high def. You don't have to like reduce the size. Bridge Interactive will automatically resize the pictures for FMLS and Georgia MLS. So you can actually store all of your photos on Bridge Interactive. Now, if you already have some listings on FMLS or Georgia MLS, you can import those listings into Bridge Interactive to manipulate them from here on out. You don't have to just start. I mean, I would go back and input all your listings for the last 5 years into it. But starting forward, you might want to just start playing with it. First couple. I think you'll find it's very bug-free. So it'll probably be very easy to use. They do, check. They do. You kind of put the address in, and it'll suggest an address. You might want to put that in. Yeah.
So can you do it like as an early listing, but, and not save it similar to?
Yes.
Okay.
You can start it and it's not active yet.
Do you know how much it keeps it from the moment that you create it until the moment that you really put it active?
Indefinitely.
Thank you.
And Diane, one
You
more
don't do it a
question.
year from now, but.
One more question. So do you also go into Bridge Interactive to do add edits to a listing once it's already live, or do you have to go back into FMLS or Georgia MLS
You
separately?
can go into Bridge Interactive and do the edits, and then it'll, push it out. But
Since I've never done either before, when I go into, what is it, Connections,
connection phone.
does it automatically recognize me in Georgia MLS and FMLS?
Well, it'll recognize you in FMLS if you use FMLS to go there,
Right.
because you will have already logged into
Right.
FMLS. Now, what these instructions are is, getting it connected to Georgia MLS.
Uh-huh.
Because when you first come up, for example, I used FMLS, and it had FMLS, but then it had Georgia MLS down here. It's kind of grayed in because they know that we want to use both. So I had to click on that and then go to Georgia MLS. And there's a little instruction on the bottom, where to find it on Georgia MLS. Log in, click that Bridge Interactive, and it connects the two.
And that's a one-time action.
Yeah, you don't have to do it every time. It's just the first time you do it. It just lets them know that you have both accounts. So pretty cool. Again, Megan will be here next Monday for a full-blown tutorial on it.
It's 10 o'clock, right?
10 o'clock, right?
Does this resolve that, KWLS with Zillow and Realtor.com deal, or we still have that issue?
Okay, right now, we don't have this ability in Command, and we may not have it for months.
Okay.
But we wanted to get this in your all's hands, A, because it's free to you guys,
Yep.
and B, it's a very robust way of, inputting listings. I think you'll like it. I mean, I've put a few listings in so far, just kind of playing with it. It gives you a bar that tells you how much you have to do. You can look at it instantly and say, oh, I've got like 4 required fields I need to fill in. I mean, it's very intuitive. It just makes sense.
So when you set your buyers up on an automatic email, will it automatically send them the homes on FMLS and Georgia MLS?
That's a completely separate program.
That's buyers, yeah, this is all about
Yeah,
sellers.
this is all about just getting a listing into FMLS, in Georgia MLS. I mean, if you're talking about sending out lots of different listings from lots of different brokerages to a buyer, right?
Yeah, 2 different things.
Yeah, come and see me if you have any questions about it, and I'll help set it up.
Cheers for Pierce, because you did help with the KWLS and having to go put in your directly photos into that listing and go back into Zillow and Realtor.com, because I had the same issue with mine.
Yeah, that'll get smoothed out as
So
soon as.
but it's still going on right now?
That'll get smoothed out. I mean, it's just when FML, I don't know if y'all are aware, but FMLS recently had to convert their data, pushing out to all their internet sources to a standard called RESO, R-E-S-O, and so pushing it out. It's also pushing out KWLS. So they're working it out. It's better. It's better than it was last week. Any questions?
At the end of the day, do you find this more intuitive and just as easy to use as, say, FMLS?
Yes.
You do.
It's just, when you get into it, you'll see what I mean. I mean, it puts it up there, and the way it's laid out just makes more sense. The sections are more laid out. You're not having to kind of go across the bar. It just makes more sense.
How do I go about recovering the $30 I just paid to Dual Swift last week?
His name is Victor. I have no idea how to handle that.
Okay, so office has paid for this for you. Again, we don't want you to have to enter listing twice, just once. And also realize that nothing's changed from last week to next week, having this as far as the KWLS part of it. It seems like most sellers, the first thing they're looking for once you said the listing's been entered is Zillow, okay? Nothing's changed with this before or after. You need to make your sellers aware that Zillow populates from FMLS, MLS, and it's going to take a day or two, okay? That just doesn't pop up. This doesn't change anything the way that works. So a key would be to advise your sellers, unless you want to enter it yourself, okay? right? Because KWLS populates from these other two. Okay. Stacy, will you be my scribe up here?
Certainly.
So let's talk about what gets listed. This is the time of year when we get more listings. Spring's the biggest market. So what causes listings to sell?
Condition and price.
Condition, one. Well, let's just put up what you think. Condition, price, what else?
Location.
Okay, what else? Tools. Okay, what else?
Marketing.
Okay, marketing. What else?
Word of mouth. I mean, being.
That's condition, I would say.
Your sellers being ready to get out and let that showing happen.
Motivation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clients that
Seller
you-
motivation.
So the actual seller themselves. Okay, what else?
Ooh, this smells.
Ready to respond.
Just enjoy it, honey. Just be a new one.
All right, let's put, all right, that's good. Put pictures up there and also put, just put listing agent, okay? So we're going to, I sent out that we're going to talk about 3, we're going to talk about 5, okay? So let's talk first price. Would you say that's the most important? Okay, so Bill, what's your strategy? You go into a listing presentation, what's your pricing strategy?
Well, it's to provide data, empirical evidence of where we, make a recommendation, but back it up with data, and basically have a script that talks about how, it's really up to you, Mr. Seller, to price the property where you see fit, and just be known that if you don't get it right, the probability of you selling it is very low. It's still possible. And if you do miss the price on the front end, either pricing it right out of the chute, or you aren't quick to react, there's a high probability you're going to end up selling your house less than what you could have, and net less when it's all said and done, because you're going to have to do price reductions and sell it for a price lower than if you would have started it right to begin with.
Okay, so anyone can comment on this too. This is totally mastermind here. So you're trying to provide evidence that will help the seller price it correctly, but you're allowing him to come to his own conclusion.
Correct.
Okay, anyone else?
I'd also throw competition in there. So what's listed on the market today? Homes around the one that's being sold.
It's an important thing to present also.
And how much inventory is in, to piggyback off that, how much inventory is around that area? All of a sudden, really, if there is an anomaly that you've got more of a balanced market, then you might even have to be more aggressive in price.
Okay.
I think it's good too that I've always previewed a lot, and so a lot of times when I get a call for a listing in an area, I've been through some of the other homes, knowing the subtle differences, when they say X house sold for this, what the differences are beyond the photos. And sometimes you have to call an agent and ask a few questions about a house that's even pending. If there's something pending, sellers don't want showings, but call the agent, see if you can go take a quick walk through. It'll help you better with nailing that price.
RJ, how about you?
So a lot that everybody said, I always try to get the seller to buy in, because they don't listen and they don't always hear you. And I talk a lot about strategy, that what is your pricing strategy? Are you going to try to nail it and make more, or are you going to, perhaps test the market, which can be, have bad consequences. And I think using the words probability versus possibility.
Okay, Bill?
Good or bad, I think there's a variety of, online valuation services like Zillow and whatnot, and I don't depend upon those, but your sellers are probably looking at that information, so you really need to be looking at that and understand that. I like to look at the FMLS Realist report that puts a recommended price with a confidence factor, but more importantly, it has a price range. Sometimes it's kind of broad, but usually it's not that broad, and I have found that almost always what I would recommend the list price to be falls within that range in that FMLS realist tax report valuation.
How many of y'all do use the Realist application when you're doing your research?
Definitely.
Realtor RPR? Realtor RPR also shows off-market sales.
Yeah.
So it's free to all of you realtors. Just another tool.
Okay, so we watch sports. We watch, many times you'll see it, tournaments starting this week. You see basketball, football. A lot of times the best teams, sometimes they're behind at halftime. Okay, they adjust. The best teams, the best coaches adjust. There's no different here. I mean, again, no one can say the exact price to the thousand that things will sell. So the key is actually setting your seller up for this situation. So Sean used to always talk about 3 prices. We can list it one of 3 prices. We're going to list it what he called a worry price, meaning that it's priced so well that every buyer's agent looking for their client is going to worry they're not going to get in and see it. It's going to go that fast. Okay? Then there's what's considered a market price property. And then there's something that's kind of like your seller has decided they have time and they want to probably go above what you're suggesting. Okay? And we have to be able to change on the fly which way we're going to go in the listing appointment. But we can quickly, and if it was me, I would set this up before we put it on the market. We're going to know very quickly where we put it. Okay? If we have an offer in 3 days, we've obviously hit the first price, right? If we have showings, a lot of showings, but no contract, we're in the ball game, right? But we might need an adjustment, right? And if we have like no showings or very few, it requires a bigger adjustment. So I think a lot of you are very good at the market will tell us what we have, but we need to explain that up front.
One more thing on price, something that's hugely powerful, and no matter what area, price point, product you're looking at, you can go into MLS, FMLS, and search and find houses that have been on the market potentially months, if not years, that they haven't priced it right, and they're just there. You see them driving around all the time. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm meeting with a seller is I go in and I pick a few of those out, and I'll print out the history report. And sometimes I did one for like a 2 million property inside Sandy Springs. I mean, many of the houses have been on the market for 3 and 4 years, starting super high price range below, and they've just worked it down, and a lot of them were still on the market. But if you can demonstrate and show these sellers, is this what you want? Do you want to be on the market, a year from now, year and a half, 2 years from now, like these other homes? Then you're showing them exact homes that they may or may not have driven by. That's super powerful. That's evidence that pricing it wrong can be detrimental and have huge ramifications. So use those history reports in FMLS. I wish they had a report where we could print it out as part of buyer full map and the history all in one, but they don't. So you got to do it manually.
I don't know what's more painful, the thought of dental work without Novocaine or a listing for 4 years, or even 1 year.
Brad.
Yeah.
One more thing too, we really like Chuck Carr's stats because if you have a seller who is not, or is very strong on what they feel the pricing is, you don't know. The market shares what the price is going to be. So when you go in with those stats and those numbers based on their area and their price range, it can show them. And then you can also do the interactive slides to say, here's where you think it should be priced, here's where we think it should be priced based on the data, and here's the different carrying costs on which you're going to end up netting. That is so strong for somebody who's thinking from their heart and emotion saying, well, I want this amount because I need to buy X, versus somebody who's saying, tell me exactly what's going on in the market and how pricing is affecting other homes.
Okay, good. One last point on pricing. I didn't buy into this for a while. This was another Sean thing too, but I grew up in retail. My family's in retail, so you know, it was always the $999 sounds better than 10, or 199,000 sounds better than 200,000, right? And that was kind of my way of thinking. Sean thought differently. He thought in the hundreds, 50s, and 25. So, how do you search? How do your buyers search once they get on these sites? They're searching in 100, 150, or 25. So, for a while, to me, like, hey, it sounds so much lower to price it at $299 compared to $300. But I think you are shooting yourself in the foot doing that, because sometimes people will search $300 to $350.
Well, the
right?
search engines default to those numbers.
And you're 1,000 off. So I've actually changed my way of thinking, that I think the even numbers going up 1,000 is a better way to do it. You're going to get in both searches. You're going to get people searching 250 to 300, and you're also going to get people 300 to 350. Make sense? All right, let's talk condition. So Susan Esbach, you list a lot of property. How important is condition of your properties?
150% importance.
Okay, so what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, first of all, curb appeal is critical. So, you know, having a nice manicured landscaped yard, or at least some color, some pops of color, something that makes it appealing at the front, walking in, and then having it staged properly and making sure everything is neutral. So,
okay, so do you pay for every house to be staged?
No. No. I have the seller pay for it up front,
okay.
And then I put it in my contract that says if, you know, at closing, I'll reimburse you for the staging.
Okay. Consultation.
Yeah.
So do you recommend every house be staged?
No.
Okay.
No, because I do a lot of it myself as far as just what I think it needs to have. I've done enough. I've been doing this for 14 years that I can see some basics, but you know whether you're going to have a problem with the seller or not, and if you do, immediately just have a stager come in, because they will believe a stager before they'll believe a realtor to change the color of a room, or you know, actually do staging, or take these hideous curtains down and put in just blinds or shutters, or you know, something like that.
Okay, so you said neutral colors. What does that mean?
You know, your whites, your grays, your light greens, your, you know, whatever the neutral color of the year is.
Why?
Because that, in my opinion, you know, the people that are normally buying, the majority of it are younger folks coming out of these fancy apartments that have all the best of what the market has today, and so they expect it as they go into the new buy a house. They don't want to do any work, so they want it move-in ready.
I think the truth with that is that most people, when we buy, we picture ourselves in that car, right? We picture ourselves in these houses. I don't know why, but I think it's a small percentage of people that can actually picture themselves in something or owning something that really isn't them at that point. So if you have all these multiple colors and bright primary colors, it just bounces off of them. They can't picture, so they move on, correct?
Yeah.
So
they can't visualize, and then for those that can visualize painting, instead of a $1,500 paint job, in their mind it's 10 grand. Yeah. So you've got to minimize the cost up front to your seller than what they're going to get dinged on afterwards by sitting on the market longer and then having to take a hit because it needs paint.
Okay. What else? What else have we conditioned?
I think like you got to prioritize it. The first and foremost is getting everything clean. Like we had a vendor here before that did the whole house washing, including pressure washing for driveways and sidewalks, but like getting everything clean first is the number one, and that's the least expensive. Second would be paint. Third would be carpet. And then you move into these other things. But those three things have the most impact, and they're also, you know, some of the most cost-effective
best
expenditures.
Also, when you go on a listing appointment, I mean, you should sort of know a little bit more about the house and the area, but in all of my listing appointments, I always tell the seller, are you prepared to spend at least $2,500 to $5 grand to get this house ready to go? Because there's going to be a lot of deferred maintenance that in their mind they don't care about, but the new person coming in does. So minimum, you know, could be $1,000 to get the house ready with pressure washing and planting, things like that. But, you know, I tell them $2,500 to $5 grand. Just expect to spend that kind of money to get this house ready to go.
Yeah, maybe the best investment is $150 worth of pine straw.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple other things. So I think of all the things that would cause a house not to sell, it is not addressing scary things. Okay? And this can actually make you an expert, cause you to get the listing just by knowing this stuff. So when I was selling, that was the first thing I did, basically. I mean, I know there's different ways people, we sit down and say, I'm going to walk, and I basically say, you can come with me or not, Bill, but I work with buyers all the time. So I'm going to walk to your house the way a buyer looks at your house. You can write down, you can do all these or none of these, but I'm going to tell you what a buyer's going to see, okay? So the biggest things are going to be, you have an electrical outlet with a big black smoke mark above it, right? Okay? Electrical is scary.
Yeah.
Plumbing leaks are scary. Cracks are scary. Okay?
Water stains on the
Right.
roof.
That was from 5 years ago. Well, I can promise you the buyer will think it's current, correct?
It has mold.
Right. And then things of settling or cracks. So there's a crack right down the middle of this room. Well, that was the way when we bought it. I know, but right? Or an easy one is just houses that have crown molding, right? I mean, yes, houses get hot and cold and they expand, contract. So, but a gap there, even if it's 1/8 of an inch, house is settled. Versus what does it cost to just run white lightning, right? So these are just all, but getting rid of the scary things that I'm not scared about a fire hazard, a water hazard, or a foundation or settling, you're going to be way ahead because the minute people see those, yeah.
I too, on all my upcoming listings or listing appointments, I tell people to be proactive. If you're not on an HVAC service plan, get them out and get it serviced before we list, because an inspector, I was one, you're going to look for something, they're going to have them over some little thing and recommend, and the buyer's going to latch onto that, and then they're looking over your client's shoulder and want to see everything they wrote. Whereas if it's been serviced 2 weeks before the house has gone on the market, clean bill of health, the system's a little old, they replaced the filter and did this, you just share that with the buyer's agent. Say, we just had it serviced, functioned fine, it's 15-year-old, but we're not replacing it, and those items go away. So be proactive on HVAC.
All right. Another thing, pay a little bit more attention to your front door area. That's probably where the buyer's going to spend more time while you fiddle with the lot box. So they're looking around. So yes, like Susan with flowers, or it's amazing how many people just, the steps up, there'll be settlement in those steps. It's really in part of the house, but they'll sometimes an inch gap. Okay? I mean, most buyers can go, I haven't even gotten to the house. I mean, if they care this little about this, I'm already scared, right? So, this is a big thing. One other big piece is cluttered or uncluttered, right?
That's a huge thing.
Correct. So, a lot of the houses, especially the closer in we get, they're generally smaller storage than people need, correct? So, why would we just advertise that I am busting out of this house? I don't have enough closet space. I don't have enough storage space, right? So what are some suggestions we make for those people?
Pods. Put it in storage.
Yeah.
Cold and
Correct. Basements, everything. Crawl space, garage.
Crawl space. If you're moving anyway, go ahead and start that.
Right. I mean, why are we going to just have them walk in and go, well, we're kind of like these people, and they're busting out of this place, right? So we just don't want to advertise that. We want to untidy things. So these are all things that really, condition-wise, would cause a property to sell. Let's go, we're not going to finish, but let's go one more. Let's actually go pictures, which might be near the top 2 in this day and age. What's your strategy on pictures?
Professional.
Absolutely, professional.
Professional pictures, why?
Because that's your first impression as an
It's
agent.
a beauty contest.
It is, and even though we think we're great photographers, these people are pretty good, aren't they?
People make decisions on the houses they want to see, but they also make decisions on the houses they don't want to see based on the pictures.
So what are the pictures? What are we trying to accomplish with the pictures? What are we trying to portray to the buyer?
Right. Lifestyle.
Space, right? What else?
Light.
Space and light are probably at the top of the list, right?
But that doesn't mean you get to expand the picture to make it look bigger than it is.
Well,
Because that's a big issue.
Expensive architectural grade lens that doesn't give it a fish eye look, but has a much wider landscape on the picture. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Let's go one more, actually. So this is one. It's probably bigger than you think. The listing agent themselves. I know for a fact that there are agents out there that we clone this listing and we give it to this agent, we give it to this agent. This agent will sell this property faster and better just by themselves and what they do. What are those things they do? So as a listing agent, what does the public want from you?
Answer your
What
phone.
does other agents want from you?
Communication.
Communication, okay, cooperation, exactly. So we got to trade places. I have a buyer. How many times I'm busy, I got busy, I'm showing today at 2, I hadn't even started searching. Had a closing yesterday, a listing appointment. A kid had something at school, and I'm looking right now at 11 to show at 2. Okay? I'm calling people, right? Now I know we have the other services, but how helpful is it that they can, my house might be shown because I actually responded to you, right? To answer your question, say it's available, correct? That's what we do. So I think urgency and communication is extremely important, that this house gets shown from this agent and it doesn't from this agent because you're not available and you're not urgent, correct?
Right.
What else?
Setting expectations to your sellers.
Right.
Because we've all got that phone call. Oh, I'm in the neighborhood and I didn't realize yours was on the market. Can we come see it? And then you call your seller. Oh, dishes are in the kitchen. I mean, can you give me a couple hours? It's like you got to tell that person every day. You have to assume it's the day.
Right.
Right. Excellent. Correct.
Right. And actually, just honest answer. So let's just say it was just your seller's great. They clean up every day. They look at their house like they're on stage performance every day. But something happened yesterday. None of that happened. Okay. Someone calls and I want to show it in 5 minutes. Okay. I mean, you can generally say, "Can you give us 15?" That's okay. But I don't think a good answer is ever no. Okay. Just because many times that buyer, they're in for a day, they're not coming back to me, okay? So I would just tell the agent calling, going, here's the gig. These people had sick kids. The house is not cleaned up. You're welcome to show it, but I just want to warn you ahead of time. Right. You still have a chance of that selling versus if it doesn't get shown, it's never selling yet.
Hey, to me, a really important thing is when I'm the listing agent, if agent asks me for information, I get it to him.
Right.
I mean, like, even if I have to call the city to get it, the account, whatever, I get them the information because I want to sell the house.
Correct. And so you're helpful and you're cooperative.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, wouldn't you say, all of you that have buyers, that there's already a feeling that if it came down to these 5, and they're all fairly equal. Wow, sure. I would like to work with Denise. This will probably work out. She's helpful, right? I mean, being the opposite, unless the house is just amazing and things are equal, they're going to kind of, the suggestion to your buyer, what do you think? This is going to be World War III dealing with this person. It is amazing to initially appear helpful and cooperative. That does get people in and wanting to pick your property. And just being nice in general.
Right.
Yeah.
You say I had a listing, and she was my seller was a school teacher. She had a dog, which she kept the dog pinned up in the kitchen. So my thoughts were, I don't want somebody to have to worry about a dog loose in the house when they come to show it.
Yeah.
So I would go over there and pick the dog up and take him in my car and drive around until they were clear, and then I'd go back.
Well, hopefully we can convince our seller to do that themselves. Believe me, I've done that before too. But you just got to think like buyers. There are some people that have had a bad dog experience. They're done. The minute they hear a dog, they're done. Let's leave. They've been bitten by a dog. So we have to take care of all the. We'll continue with this. This is a good topic. We're kind of out of time. So Certainty Home Loans. What do you got back here?
We're out of time.
We got a little. We got time for you guys. So
make it quick.
I couldn't tell you weren't on your phone. Morning. We got a little contest coming up.
I got nothing but fun stuff today.
Okay, good.
Nothing but fun. March Madness is here. If you were in the league, CBS Sports League last year, you might want to write this down. The league there's multiple leagues and it could get a little confusing.
There shouldn't be multiple leagues.
There shouldn't be, but there are. The correct one is KW Atlanta Perimeter March Madness. Okay? If you were in that league, look at that. Got graphics. If you were in that last year, you should have gotten like a reminder invitation, I believe late last week, that like brackets are live, yada yada yada. If you weren't in it last year, I'm going to send out the link to everybody to get signed up. You need to have a CBS Sports account. It takes 2 seconds to sign up. It's free to enter, fun to play. Prizes are, I believe it's 150 for first.
200.
200 for first. Well, why don't you just shout it out then? 200 for first.
100 for second.
100 for second.
50 for third.
50 for third.
There we go.
There we go.
Set the Bud Light nights.
There we go. Also, thank you for everybody that came out to give a round of applause to Bill and Kathy for their wine and cheese event. If you showed up, I hope you learned a lot. It was a good time and got to hear some good stuff from Bill on technology tips and tricks. We do have one coming up. Mark your calendars. It is 3/28. I believe that's next Thursday. Wine and cheese, free wine and cheese. You don't have to listen to us. Titled Party with McCarty.
That's Jim.
They're going to be talking about how to hold a killer client appreciation event. If you haven't been to one of their events before, they're incredible and they have great turnout and it's a great time had by all. So try and come next Thursday.
Bring your 4 to 5 Thursday here.
4 to 5 next Thursday.
It's a CE class, I think, the Southeast Beltline class. Isn't that next Thursday? 1:30 to 4:30?
Oh, that'd be good. I don't think so.
I wrote that down from my email.
We'll talk. We'll get that out. All right.
Yeah, that's all I got. So next Thursday, make sure to come 4 to 5 or we'll get it worked out. And then be on the lookout for the March Madness email from CBS Sports. And if you have any questions, just call, email me.
You got to do it today. When do you have to
do it?
tomorrow?
The first round starts Thursday, so you got to do either today or tomorrow.
Yep.
And Matt, we are going to talk about how to start not spending a lot of money. I mean, so if you're new, there's other ways to party that are different, that are cheaper.
Yep.
So.
Parking lots.
Starbucks. I mean, whatever. So we're going to start.
Thank you for the glass of water, Archie.
I just wanted to say
rates have actually dipped a little bit. Conventional and FHA around 4 3/8. Jumbo is right around the same too.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Renee. How about from the world of Gannett and closing attorneys?
So many exciting things. Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Dillon with Gannett PC. So we're starting to see some funky commission agreements coming over. People asking to pay admin fees or contract to close fees for their clients, or just your typical home warranty is going to come out of the commission, or we're just doing something other than the standard 6%, 3 and 3. So if you
7 and 3 in Virginia's case.
Okay.
Price fixing.
I'm but anyway, just take a good look when you get the settlement statements from us and make sure that the commission is shown correctly. sometimes if you're paying for something outside of closing, that may be hidden in a different spot. If you have a question on it, call us ahead of time so that we can fix it so that we're not fixing it at the table. And also, if you are doing a DA, a pay at close here at the office, if you change your commission at the last minute, because we've seen a lot of this happen lately, you will have to get a new DA from Ellie, I think.
Or Lauren.
Or Lauren. And they're usually pretty good about doing that and getting it processed. But we can't go off the old DA if anything changes prior to closing. So just remember that so you can get all your money after your closing. Any questions?
Nope.
No.
Aren't you teaching something soon?
Lynn and I have a class. Thank you, Matt. Lynn and I have a class right after team meeting today, probably starting around 11:30.
Perfect.
Going to be about an hour and a half. We are going over exhibits
and
amendments, but not financing today.
Correct.
Right?
We've done the financing exhibits.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a 103 contract class. 102 part 2. Because we spent all the time last time on financing. So stay after team meeting. It'll be a good class. Lynn and I will hopefully go over a lot of the documents that we are seeing people have trouble with.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. One last thing to remember, don't let this happen to you. You'll be a little embarrassed at closing if this happens. Remember, you should have a checklist from contract all the way to closing. One thing, the last thing on your list probably should be think about the earnest money. Okay, so if your commission is less than the earnest money we hold, you have to take that earnest money back to closing, okay? Or we allow you personal transactions. Many times you're not taking commission. Obviously we have earnest money has to go back. So that should be the last checklist item on your list. Just, is my commission less than the earnest money or is it more? Because you need to take it back if we're holding more than you actually get. Okay? Yep. All right, listings, caravans, what do you got? Hank?
We've got a beautiful 4-bedroom, 3-bath ranch in Breckenridge, between La Vista and Briarcliff. We've had a price reduction, now $659.
Nice, great area. Who else? That's it? One listing?
There's a couple of them here. You got Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. We're doing listings.
Okay.
Either way, buyers, listings, what do you got? Culver has some. Who's announcing Mike's?
I am. Michael Culver has a beautiful 5-house Brookhaven house on Caravan. It's kind of a cluster neighborhood, so they're super close. You can park, and you have to go to all 5 to do the $100 drawing. But you can just go to Michael's listing. There's also a First Atlanta listing. The others are from other agents. I also am here with my Kendra Scott jewelry on to promote Jessica Schulte's Caravan. She has a new listing in East Cobb. It is off Lassiter Road. So if you can imagine Johnson Ferry going up before it hits Shallowford, Lassiter Road, it's kind of in there. Really nice house, and she's having a Kendra Scott actually earring or bracelet drawing. So men can go too and get it for their favorite ladies.
Great Mother's Day gift.
Yes, here's the, there you go, coming up.
Okay, who else?
Any other caravans?
Anything? Okay, right after this, Lynn and Renee, hang around. We still got food in the back. It's time. It's springtime. Get your brackets done. Get your contests done. Go out and get them. Have a good one.